Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I am so happy and humbled to be with all of you today, and I thank God for bringing me here.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for watching this video. You know, teaching practices have evolved over the years, and today we're talking about the competency-based approach. The title of this tutorial is Lesson Planning. So how does a lesson plan look like? There are two basic parts in a lesson plan: the header and the unfolding of the lesson. The header is where you put all the school and class information, teacher information, and lesson information. And then the unfolding of the lesson, which comprises three parts: the introductory phase, the development phase, and the evaluation or application phase. In the introductory phase, you have the warm-up, revision, leading question, and learning context. If the warm-up is very important to begin a lesson, the revision is not compulsory. Even the leading question is not compulsory. What really matters here is the quality of your learning context. And our learning context here reads: in your village, people resort to bushfire and irrational cutting of wood. As a result, there is no rain. As a people of Form 5, because this lesson is designed for students of Form 5, you have been educated on environmental protection, and you decide to do something about it. How would you convince the people to stop these bad practices? That is, the cutting of the wood and the bushfire. So this is a learning context that you submit to your student, and it's a brainstorming activity. It's not a new lesson. For you to be able to cover this part in a few minutes, I have some suggestions for you. So 3 techniques to successfully conduct the learning context. Number 1, type it. Number 2, speak it. And number 3, picture it. Make it oral. Number 3, which I recommend the most, is to picture it. Use pictures to teach this part of the lesson. Using pictures is really powerful to bring your students to learn something. And then we'll move to the development phase. In this phase, you consider the vocabulary of your learning context. And here we have bushfire, wood cutting. Point out the meaning of every keyword. It's not that you have to teach a vocabulary lesson. No. You just define words. As for the grammar, you just tell them what they need in order to do the activities. Here, for example, they might need to know how to use connectives. So I teach them, I give them some connectives. You are not obliged to design 3 activities. 1, 2, it depends on the complexity of the lesson. It depends on you. The first exercise is about the causes. The second exercise is about the drawbacks. The third exercise is about the solution. And I would prefer the last activity than the first 2 ones. Don't ask your students to write anything, because the CBA approach is a speaking approach, it's a communicative approach. Most of the time, teachers ask their students to write their answers and then read them out. But here, I would propose a different way of doing this. You can just make it speaking. Tell them to speak. It's not a writing lesson, it's a speaking lesson. So make it communicative, make it speaking. In the evaluation phase or application phase, the activity design here is a speech delivering activity. But before we consider the activity itself, I want you to consider that there are 5 or 6 characteristics that your last phase activity must have. First of all, your last phase activity must be complex. It means mobilization of several skills to do the activity. Second, it must be functional. I mean by functional, important. It must have a social function. That is to say, your students have to be able to use it even outside the class to solve a given problem. Number 3, it must be engaging. The learners must feel concerned. Imagine giving a task to your students and they don't feel concerned. They will be distracted. So please make sure they are concerned by the activities they are doing. And number 4, the activity must be interesting, not boring or dull. It must also be realistic. Number 5, realistic means adapted and feasible. Adapted to their level and feasible. Feasible in terms of time, feasible in terms of complexity. And communicative, the most important characteristic. Communicative, that is, you have to make the class interactive. You have to create the atmosphere of interaction, enough interaction in the classroom. So let's talk about the activity itself. So now the instruction is taking the class as people from your village, sensitize them on the dangers related to the destruction of their environment. So here, this is a speech delivering activity, but it is actually a role play activity. Student speaking to his classmates must play the role of the chief of the village, or he must play the role of a very important personality from the government, an official, a local authority that is speaking to the village. So you see, this may make it interesting and engaging. They are concerned. So if you look at this activity, we can say that the activity has all these 6 characteristics. It is complex. They have to mobilize a certain number of skills in order to deliver that speech. This make it complex, and then it is functional. It has a function because it serves to fight against these bad practices. It is engaging. The students are concerned because environmental issues concern everybody. It is interesting because you all know that it is interesting, and it is realistic. They can do that, and it is communicative. They will be able to interact because when the speaker finishes speaking, the other classmates will ask questions. Do you understand? So it's like a conference, and when you do that, you have managed to teach the CBA successfully. That's all. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and see you next time.